The Galactic Military Academy floated in the empty space between three star systems. It was the largest training facility in the known universe. Every species that belonged to the Galactic Council sent their best young soldiers here. They came to learn, to fight, and to become warriors worthy of protecting their worlds. Commander Vexthar stood at the observation window of the main training hall. His purple skin reflected the light of distant stars. He had 4 arms, each one thick with muscle. His species, the Corvani, were considered among the strongest in the galaxy. They came from a planet with gravity 1.2 times the standard galactic measurement. This made them natural warriors. Today was different. Today, a new species had joined the Academy for the first time. Vexthar looked down at the data pad in his upper right hand. The file showed a small creature, 2 arms, 2 legs, soft pink skin, no claws, no natural armor, no visible weapons on its body. Human. That was what they called themselves. "Is this some kind of joke?" asked Lieutenant Grix, standing beside the commander. Grix was a Melvori, a species that looked like a walking lizard covered in thick scales. "The Council cannot be serious about letting this creature train with real soldiers." Vexthar made a sound that was his species' version of a laugh. "The humans recently joined the Galactic Council. They discovered faster-than-light travel only 50 years ago. This is their first trainee, a gesture of goodwill, nothing more." "Goodwill?" Grix's yellow eyes narrowed. "Or a waste of our time?" The door to the training hall opened. Every head turned to look. Through the doorway walked the human. Her name was Sergeant Maya Chen. She was 26 years old by her planet's counting. She stood at what humans called 5 feet 8 inches. Her black hair was cut short, practical for combat. Her dark eyes scanned the room, taking in every detail. She wore the standard gray training uniform of the Academy, though it had been specially made to fit her unusual body shape. The room fell silent. Over 200 trainees from 30 different species stared at her. Some had never seen a human before. Others had only seen pictures. None of them looked impressed. Maya walked to the center of the hall where Commander Vexithar waited. She stopped in front of him and performed what the Academy file said was a human military salute. "Sergeant Maya Chen, reporting for training, sir," she said. Her voice was clear and steady. The universal translator in everyone's ear made her words understandable. Vexithar looked down at her. He was nearly 8 feet tall. She barely reached his chest. "Welcome to the Academy, Sergeant. I hope you understand that we make no special allowances here. Every trainee faces the same challenges." "I would expect nothing less, sir." A ripple of laughter moved through the watching trainees. Vexthar heard someone whisper, "She will be gone within a week." He almost felt sorry for her. Almost. "Your first evaluation begins now," Vexthar announced. "Basic physical conditioning. Report to Training Room 7. Maya nodded and walked toward the indicated door. The crowd parted around her, but not out of respect. They simply did not want to touch her. Training Room 7 was a large circular space with a high ceiling. The floor was made of a special material that could change its texture and temperature. The walls contained hidden devices that could simulate any environment. But the most important feature was the gravity generator beneath the floor. Maya entered the room and found it empty, except for a control panel near the door. She checked her equipment belt. Water container, energy bars, basic med kit, standard issue for all trainees. The door slid shut behind her. What Maya did not know was that she was being watched. In a room above the training floor, a group of senior trainees had gathered. They were led by Torvik, a young Corvani who believed his species was superior to all others. His friends included members of 5 different species, all united by one thing. They all thought humans were weak. "Look at her," Torvik laughed, "standing there like a lost child." "This will be entertaining," said Yirix, a Melvori female with dark green scales. What is the plan? Torvik's 4 hands moved across a control panel he had secretly connected to the training room's systems. The standard test runs the gravity at 1.0 galactic standard. Perfect for most species. But our little human friend is about to experience something different. You are going to increase it? Asked Dren, a massive creature from a gas giant moon. His body was mostly translucent, and you could see his organs working inside him. Just a small adjustment, Torvik grinned. Let us see how the soft little human handles 1.5 times standard gravity. That is more than her weak planet has. She will collapse within minutes. Then she will run home crying, and we will never have to deal with humans again. The group laughed. Torvik pressed a button. Down in the training room, Maya felt the change immediately. The weight on her shoulders increased. Her legs felt heavier. Each breath required more effort. She looked up at the ceiling, then at the walls. Her expression did not change. She had been warned about this. Before leaving Earth, Maya had received a detailed briefing from General Harrison, the head of Earth's new Galactic Relations Division. He had shown her files collected from friendly alien traders and diplomats. The Academy has a hazing problem, he had told her. Every new species faces it. The established powers do not like newcomers. They will try to break you. What do I do about it, sir? Maya had asked. General Harrison had smiled. You show them what humans are made of. Now, standing in the training room with artificial gravity pressing down on her, Maya understood what he meant. She walked to the control panel near the door. Her movements were slower but steady. She examined the panel for a moment, then found what she was looking for. The gravity settings. In the observation room, Torvik frowned. What is she doing? Maya pressed a button on the panel. A computerized voice spoke in the room. Current gravity level, 1.5 galactic standard. Do you wish to adjust? Yes, Maya said calmly. Increase to 3.0 galactic standard. Silence filled both rooms. Torvik's eyes went wide. That is impossible. That would be 3 times what we set it to, Yurix finished, her voice barely a whisper. That is more than twice what our planets have. The computer responded to Maya's request. Warning, gravity level 3.0 exceeds safe parameters for most registered species. Confirm adjustment? Confirmed, Maya said. The gravity increased again, and again. The floor seemed to pull at Maya with invisible hands. Her body felt like it was made of stone. Each heartbeat was a drum of effort. Sweat appeared on her forehead. But she did not fall. Maya dropped to the floor and began doing push-ups. Her arms trembled, her muscles screamed. But she kept going. 1, 2, 3, each one harder than the last. In the observation room, no one spoke. They watched the human push her body up and down against gravity that would have pinned most of them to the floor, unable to move. How? Dren finally asked. How is this possible? None of them had an answer. Maya completed 50 push-ups. Then she stood up and began running laps around the room. Her pace was slow, her breathing heavy, but she did not stop. Commander Vexathar's voice suddenly came through the speakers. What is happening in Training Room 7? The gravity readings are showing an error. Torvik scrambled to disconnect his secret control panel. His friends fled the observation room, but the damage was done. The commander arrived at the training room minutes later. He entered to find Maya still running, still moving, still refusing to quit. He checked the gravity reading, and his purple skin turned pale. 3 times standard? He said, not believing his own eyes. You increased it yourself? Maya stopped running. She was breathing hard, her uniform soaked with sweat. But she stood straight and met his eyes. The original setting felt light, sir. I assumed the system was malfunctioning, so I adjusted it to something closer to what I trained in back home. Vexathar stared at her. Closer to what you trained in? What gravity does your planet have? Earth's gravity is about 0.98 galactic standard at sea level, sir. But I trained at a facility in the mountains with artificial gravity enhancement. We regularly worked at 3.5 standard. The commander's 4 arms hung limp at his sides. He had been a soldier for 40 years. He had trained warriors from 100 different worlds. He thought he understood strength. He was wrong. "Why?" he asked. "Why would your people train in such conditions?" Maya wiped sweat from her face. "Because we knew we would be coming here, sir. We knew other species would look at us and see weakness. Small bodies, no claws, no armor, no natural weapons." She paused. "We decided to make our own strength." Vexthar was silent for a long moment. Then he did something he had not done in 20 years. He bowed his head to a trainee. "I believe I have underestimated your species, Sergeant Chen." Maya almost smiled. "Most people do, sir. We are used to it." Later that evening, word spread through the academy like fire through dry grass. The human had survived gravity training at 3 times standard. The human had asked for it herself. The human was not what they expected. In the dining hall, Maya sat alone at a table. She was used to being alone. The other trainees kept their distance, but now their looks were different. Before, they had looked at her with pity. Now, they looked at her with something else. Curiosity, confusion, maybe even a little fear. Torvik and his friends sat at a far table. They did not look at her at all. They stared at their food in silence, their earlier jokes forgotten. Maya ate her meal slowly. The academy food was strange, but she had eaten worse during survival training in deserts and jungles back on Earth. She thought about home, about the months of brutal preparation before this assignment. About the doctors and scientists who had pushed human bodies to their limits to understand what they could endure. Earth had been watching the galaxy for a long time before making contact. They had learned the languages, studied the cultures, mapped the politics, and they had noticed something important. The galaxy thought it understood strength, big bodies, natural weapons, high-gravity homeworlds. These things made a species powerful in the eyes of the Galactic Council, but the galaxy had never met humans before. Humans came from a planet with dangerous weather, earthquakes, hurricanes, floods, fires. The air itself could kill you if you went high enough. The water could crush you if you went deep enough. Half the planet was covered in temperatures that could freeze you solid. The other half could cook you alive. And then there were the other creatures. Sharks, bears, snakes, spiders, lions, wolves, things with teeth and claws and poison and rage. Humans had survived them all. More importantly, humans had conquered them all. Maya finished her meal and stood up. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new tests, new chances for others to try and break her. She was looking forward to it. As she walked to her quarters, she passed a window that looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, billions of miles away, was a small blue planet. Her home. The world that had made her what she was. The galaxy wanted to see what humans could do. Maya intended to show them. 1 week passed at the Galactic Military Academy. 7 days that changed everything. Maya Chen had become the most talked-about trainee in the Academy's 200-year history. Stories about her gravity test spread from station to station, from planet to planet. Some said she had survived 4 times standard gravity. Others claimed she had laughed while doing it. The truth was impressive enough without the exaggeration, but gravity was only the beginning. The second test came on day 3, endurance running on the outer track. The track circled the entire Academy station, a distance of 12 miles. Most species completed it in about 2 hours. The fastest Corvani had finished in 1 hour and 40 minutes. Maya finished in 1 hour and 15 minutes. When she crossed the finish line, barely breathing hard, the timing official checked his equipment 3 times. He was certain it was broken. It was not. Day 4 brought combat training, hand-to-hand, fighting against training drones. The drones were programmed with fighting styles from every known species. They could adjust their difficulty based on the trainee's skill level. Maya destroyed 14 drones in 11 minutes. The instructor, a scarred Melvori veteran named Commander Strix, had to order her to stop when she started reprogramming the 15th drone to fight harder. "Where did you learn to fight like that?" Esarix demanded. Maya shrugged. "Earth has many fighting styles, sir. I know 7 of them." "7?" Esarix's scales rippled with what the translator identified as disbelief. "Your species developed 7 different ways to kill each other?" Maya thought about this. "Actually, sir, there are hundreds. I only trained in 7. SRX walked away without another word. Later that night, he was seen drinking alone in his quarters. He did not come out until morning. By day 5, Maya was no longer sitting alone in the dining hall. A small group of trainees had started joining her. They were not the strongest or the most popular. They were the curious ones, the ones who wanted to understand. The first to approach her was Kira, a young female from a water world called Thesson Prime. Her skin was blue and slightly translucent. Thin gills ran down the sides of her neck. Her species, the Thrasani, were considered physically weak by galactic standards. They were better known for their intelligence and their scientists. "May I sit?" Kira asked on that 5th day. Maya nodded. "Of course." Kira sat down carefully, as if afraid Maya might suddenly attack. "I have been watching you," she said. "Everyone has, but I have been taking notes." "Notes?" "I am a researcher as well as a soldier. My government sent me here to study other species as much as to train with them." Kira pulled out a small data pad. "Your physical abilities do not match the information we have about Earth. Your planet's gravity is lower than many others. Your bodies have no natural defenses. But you perform as if you evolved on a death world." Maya raised an eyebrow. "Death world?" "It is a classification for planets where the environment is actively hostile to life. High gravity, extreme temperatures, deadly predators, toxic atmospheres. Most intelligent species evolve on stable, safe worlds. The odds of developing technology on a death world are very low because most creatures die before they get the chance." Maya thought about Earth, about the ice ages, the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs, the plagues that wiped out half of humanity's population, the wars that killed millions, the natural disasters that struck without warning. "What category is Earth in?" she asked. Kira checked her data pad. "Earth is classified as Category 3. Safe, mild climate, moderate gravity, standard atmosphere." She paused. "But your abilities suggest otherwise." Maya laughed. It was the first time anyone at the academy had heard her laugh. Several trainees nearby turned to stare. "Category 3, Maya repeated. "They classified Earth as safe." "Is it not?" Maya shook her head slowly. "Kira, we have places on Earth where the ground opens up and swallows entire cities. We have waves taller than this station that appear without warning and destroy everything in their path. We have storms that pick up houses and throw them miles away. The northern parts of our planet get so cold that your blood will freeze solid in minutes if you go outside. The southern deserts get so hot that you can cook food on the ground." Kira's blue skin had turned slightly pale. "That is, not in our files. And those are just the weather conditions. I have not even started on the animals." Maya took a bite of her food. "We have creatures that can kill you with a single bite from their venomous fangs. Fish in our oceans that will strip the flesh from your bones in seconds. Insects that carry diseases that have killed more humans than all our wars combined." The data pad slipped from Kira's fingers. She caught it before it hit the table. "Your planet sounds like a Category 8 at minimum." "What is a Category 8? "A world where survival is considered impossible for most intelligent life forms." Kira stared at Maya with new eyes. And you evolved there? Your species developed technology there? Maya nodded. We did more than survive. We conquered every environment on our planet. We climbed our highest mountains. We explored our deepest oceans. We built cities in deserts and forests and frozen wastelands. We even left our planet and walked on our moon. Kira was silent for a long moment. Then she asked, "What does your species call yourselves? Your true name?" "Humans. We call ourselves humans." Kira entered something into her data pad. "I am updating the Thrassani database. Your species classification has been changed from Category 3 to Category 8. Designation, Death World Origin. Status, Highly Dangerous." Maya smiled. "That seems a bit dramatic." "No," Kira said firmly. "It seems accurate." Word of Maya's true origins spread even faster than the gravity story. By day 6, the entire Academy knew that Earth was not the safe little world they had assumed. It was a death world, a planet of survivors, and Maya Chen was its representative. Commander Vexithar called Maya to his office on the 7th day. The commander's office was large and filled with trophies from a long military career, weapons from defeated enemies, medals from grateful governments, a collection of flags from a dozen conquered worlds. But when Maya entered, Vexthar was not looking at any of these things. He was looking at a holographic display of Earth. "Beautiful planet," he said without turning around. "Blue and green and white. It looks peaceful." "It can be, sir." From a distance. Vexithar finally turned to face her. His 4 arms were crossed over his chest. "I have been in the military for 4 decades. I have seen things that would drive most minds insane. I have fought in wars that lasted longer than most species' civilizations. I thought I understood what strength meant." He paused. "I was wrong." Maya stood at attention, waiting. "I have reviewed your performance over the past week. Every test, every evaluation. You have exceeded expectations in every category, not just exceeded. You have shattered records that have stood for generations." "I was well prepared, sir. That is what disturbs me." Vexithar walked closer. Even with his great height, his manner was not threatening. It was curious. "You were prepared. Your species knew what you would face here. You trained specifically for these challenges, but that means—" He trailed off. "It means Earth has been watching," Maya finished, "for a long time." Vexthar nodded slowly. "How long?" "We detected the first signs of intelligent life beyond our solar system over a century ago. We spent decades learning to intercept and decode galactic transmissions. We learned your languages, your cultures, your military capabilities." Maya paused. "We knew we were not ready, so we waited. We prepared. We became stronger. And now you are here." "One human is here," Maya corrected. "One soldier from one small planet. But there are 8 billion more back on Earth, and we have been training together." The commander was silent. In his mind, he was recalculating everything he thought he knew about the galaxy's newest species. One human had already proven more capable than most of his best trainees. What could an army of them do? What could a species that had conquered a death world through pure determination achieve if they turned their attention to the stars? "I should be worried," Vexthar finally said. "A species like yours could be a threat to the entire galactic order." Maya shook her head. "We did not train for war, Commander. We trained for survival. Earth has learned one thing above all else. The universe is dangerous. Life is fragile. Every species needs to be strong enough to protect itself." "And if someone threatens you?" Maya met his eyes directly. "Then they will learn what 8 billion humans can do when we work together." For the first time since they met, Vexithar smiled. It was a strange expression on his alien face, but the meaning was clear. "I am very glad humans decided to be friends with the Council, Sergeant Chen." "So am I, sir." That evening, Maya received a message on her personal communication device. It was encoded with Earth military encryption. She decoded it in her quarters, away from watching eyes. The message was from General Harrison. Sergeant Chen, the Council has received reports about your performance, very impressive. However, we have concerning news. Intelligence has detected increased activity near the Outer Rim. The Void Collective is mobilizing. As you know, they are not members of the Council and they do not recognize galactic law. We believe they are planning an attack on one of the Council's frontier stations. The Academy is too close to the danger zone. Be prepared. Stay sharp. Show them what Earth can do. Harrison out. Maya read the message 3 times. Then she deleted it completely. The Void Collective. She had read about them during her training. A loose alliance of outcast species, criminals, and exiles who lived beyond the edges of civilized space. They attacked without warning. They took what they wanted. They answered to no one. And they were coming this way. Maya went to her window and looked out at the stars. Somewhere in that darkness, enemies were gathering. They had no idea what was waiting for them. She almost felt sorry for them. Almost. The next morning, alarms began to sound throughout the academy. Red lights flashed. Emergency broadcasts repeated on every channel. All personnel to battle stations. This is not a drill. Hostile forces detected approaching the station. All trainees report to the main hall for evacuation orders. Maya did not go to the main hall. Instead, she went to the armory. The armory doors were locked. Security protocols had sealed them when the alert sounded. Only senior officers had access during emergency situations. But Maya had spent the past week studying the Academy's systems. She had noticed weaknesses, blind spots, backup codes that no one had changed in years. The doors opened. Inside, rows of weapons waited. Energy rifles, plasma swords, sonic grenades, technologies from 100 different worlds, designed to kill in 100 different ways. Maya walked past them all. At the back of the armory, in a dusty corner, was a collection of physical weapons, primitive by galactic standards. Blades made of metal, projectile weapons that fired solid objects, items that were kept as curiosities, relics from less advanced times. Maya picked up a knife. It was simple. A blade, a handle, nothing more. She also took a projectile rifle. Old design, mechanical action, no power cells required. Old technology, said a voice behind her, useless in modern combat. Maya turned. Torvik stood in the doorway. The Corvani, who had tried to humiliate her on her first day. He had avoided her since then, staying on the opposite side of any room she entered. But now there was fear in his eyes, and something else. The Void Collective has 18 warships approaching the station, he said. Command says we cannot stop them. The station's defenses are outdated. We need to evacuate. Maya strapped the knife to her belt. She slung the rifle over her shoulder. How many people are on this station? Over 2,000. Trainees, staff, their families. How many evacuation ships? Torvik's silence was answer enough. Maya walked toward the door. Torvik stepped aside to let her pass. Where are you going? He asked. Maya stopped. She looked at the young Corvani who had thought she was weak, who had tried to break her with gravity, who had learned, like everyone else, that he was wrong. I am going to show the Void Collective what happens when you threaten my academy, she said. Stay here if you want, or come with me and learn something. She walked away without looking back. After a moment, Torvik followed. The corridors of the Galactic Military Academy were filled with chaos. Trainees ran in every direction. Some headed for evacuation points. Others searched for friends or family. The station's alarms continued to scream, painting everything in flashing red light. Maya moved against the flow. While everyone else ran away from danger, she walked toward it. Torvik stayed close behind her. The Corvani had not said anything since leaving the armory. His 4 hands were empty. He had not taken a weapon. Perhaps he was still deciding what he was doing here. Perhaps he did not know himself. "The command center is this way," Torvik said, pointing down a side corridor. "The senior officers will be there." Maya nodded and changed direction. Within minutes, they reached the command center's main doors. 2 guards stood outside, holding energy rifles. "No trainees allowed during emergency protocols," one guard said. He was a species Maya did not recognize, tall and thin, with too many joints in his arms. "I need to speak with Commander Vexthar," Maya said. "The commander is busy. Return to your evacuation point." Maya did not move. "Tell him the human wants to help." The guards looked at each other. Even in the middle of a crisis, everyone on this station knew about the human. The guard spoke into his communication device. A moment later, the doors opened. The command center was a large, circular room filled with holographic displays and control stations. Officers from various species worked frantically at their posts. In the center, Commander Vexthar stood before a massive tactical display showing the space around the station. 18 red dots were approaching, the Void Collective fleet. "Sergeant Chen," Vexthar said without looking away from the display, "I expected to find you on an evacuation ship." "With respect, sir, I would rather fight." Now the commander turned. His purple face showed exhaustion and something that might have been despair. "Fight? With what?" "Our defensive systems are 40 years old. We have 3 small patrol ships against 18 heavy cruisers. We cannot fight." Maya walked closer to the tactical display. She studied the enemy formation. 18 ships arranged in a classic attack pattern. They would surround the station and cut off all escape routes, standard military tactics for any species. "What about the trainees?" she asked. "Most will evacuate. We have enough transport capacity for the civilians and the younger trainees. The senior trainees and military staff will stay behind to delay the enemy." Vexthar's voice was heavy. "It is a delaying action. Nothing more." Maya looked around the room. Every face showed the same expression. They had already accepted death. Maya had not. "Commander, what is the Void Collective's standard boarding procedure?" Vexthar seemed surprised by the question. "They use breaching pods, small armored craft that attach to a station's hull and cut through. Usually a dozen pods per major attack. Each pod carries 20 to 30 soldiers." Maya did the math in her head. "So approximately 300 to 400 enemy troops." "Yes. Far more than we can handle." "How many trainees do you have who are willing to fight?" The commander's eyes narrowed. "Perhaps 200, but most are inexperienced. They would be slaughtered against collective veterans." Maya smiled. It was not a friendly expression. "Have you ever seen what inexperienced soldiers can do when they believe they can win?" Vexthar stared at her. "What are you suggesting?" Maya turned to address the entire command center. Every officer had stopped working. Every eye was on her. A human, a trainee, a creature they had dismissed as weak just 1 week ago. "The Void Collective expects this station to surrender or die," Maya said. "They expect fear, confusion, easy targets. They have attacked stations like this before and won every time because no one fought back properly." She paused to let that sink in. "But they have never faced humans before. They do not know what we are. They do not know what we have taught the trainees here. And they certainly do not expect us to win." Lieutenant Grix, the Melvori officer, spoke up from his station. "Win? Against 18 warships? That is impossible." "Their ships will not enter the station," Maya replied. "Their boarding troops will, and inside this station, ship size means nothing. Tactics mean everything. We do not need to destroy their fleet. We just need to destroy every soldier they send against us." "And then what?" Grix demanded. "Then they retreat. The Void Collective does not sacrifice troops for empty stations. If we kill enough of their soldiers, they will leave to find easier prey." Maya looked at Vexthar. "Commander, I have a plan, but I need you to trust me." The room was silent. A human trainee was asking the commander of the Galactic Military Academy to follow her orders. It was unheard of. It was absurd. Vexthar looked at the tactical display, at the enemy fleet drawing closer with each passing second, at the transports struggling to evacuate as many people as possible. He made his decision. "What do you need?" Maya began giving orders. The officers followed them. The first order was to change the station's internal gravity settings. Every corridor, every room, every hallway would be set to 3 times galactic standard, the same level Maya had trained in back on Earth. "Most species cannot move in such conditions," the engineering officer protested. "Our own people will be affected." "That is the point," Maya explained. "The Void Collective comes from low-gravity worlds. Their soldiers are large but weak. At 3 times standard, they will barely be able to walk. Our trainees have been practicing in high gravity for years. They will be slower, but they can still fight." The second order was to seal all main corridors and force any invaders through a series of choke points. Maya had studied the station's layout during her first week. She knew every shortcut, every maintenance tunnel, every hidden path. The enemy would not. The third order was to arm every trainee with physical weapons instead of energy guns, blades, clubs, anything that would work without power cells. "The gravity will drain their equipment too," Maya explained. "Energy weapons require strength to aim and fire. Our primitive weapons require strength too, but we will have that strength and they will not." The fourth order was the strangest of all. Maya ordered all remaining lights in the combat zones to be turned off. "Humans evolved as endurance hunters on a death world," she told the confused officers. "Our ancestors chased prey across great distances until the prey collapsed from exhaustion. We can track movement in darkness. We can hear breathing through walls. And most importantly, we can fight for hours without rest while our enemies tire." Commander Vexthar watched the human trainee transform his dying station into a killing ground. Every order made tactical sense. Every change gave them another advantage. For the first time since the alarm started, he felt something he had not expected. Hope. The evacuation transports launched 20 minutes before the Void Collective fleet arrived. They carried the civilians, the young trainees, and the non-combat staff. The remaining defenders watched them go. Over 300 souls streaking toward safety while the fleet closed in. Maya stood at the main airlock with 200 volunteer fighters, trainees from every species who had chosen to stay. Torvik was among them, along with Kira the Thrasani researcher and dozens of others who had watched Maya's performances over the past week. They had seen what one human could do. Now they would see what human tactics could accomplish. "Remember your training," Maya told them. "High gravity affects everyone, but we have practiced in it. Stay low. Move slowly. Conserve your energy. When the enemy comes through those corridors, they will be exhausted before the fight even begins." "And if we fall?" someone asked from the crowd. Maya could not see who. "Then you fall forward," she replied. "You make them pay for every inch. You show them that this academy does not break, that we do not surrender, that the galaxy's newest species stands with its oldest allies." The first breaching pod hit the station's hull with a thunderous crash. Then another, and another. 12 pods in total, exactly as Vexthar had predicted. They cut through the station's outer armor like knives through paper. The invasion had begun. Maya's defenders split into teams. Each team took position at one of the prepared choke points. They waited in darkness, breathing slowly, listening for the enemy. The first Void Collective soldiers emerged from their pods and immediately struggled. The high gravity slammed into them like a physical force. Their massive bodies, evolved for low-gravity worlds, suddenly weighed 3 times normal. Each step was a battle. Each breath was a fight. They pushed forward anyway. They were veterans of 100 raids. They had never been stopped before. They entered the darkened corridors. Their energy weapons powered up, casting small circles of light in the blackness. They moved in tight formation, covering each other. They never saw the attack coming. Maya's team struck from above. They had climbed through maintenance shafts to reach positions in the ceiling. When the enemy passed below, they dropped down like shadows. Blades flashed, bodies fell. The collective soldiers tried to fight back, but their movements were slow, clumsy. Weighed down by gravity, they could not resist. It was over in seconds. 20 enemy soldiers dead. 0 defenders lost. Similar scenes played out across the station. The collective soldiers were stronger, better armed, more experienced. But they could barely move while the Academy defenders fought at near full capacity. High gravity that would have crushed them normally was merely uncomfortable after a week of training with Maya. Commander Vexithar watched from the command center as the battle unfolded. Green dots representing his defenders swept through the station like a wave, washing away the red dots of the enemy. "This is impossible," he whispered. "We are winning." Lieutenant Grix stood beside him, equally stunned. "The humans' tactics are working. The collective cannot adapt." "They have never faced anything like this." "They have never faced humans," Vexthar corrected. "This is what happens when you underestimate a Death World species." The battle lasted 3 hours. 3 hours of darkness and blood and violence. 3 hours of Academy defenders using every trick Maya had taught them. High-gravity attacks, ambush tactics, endurance fighting that exhausted the enemy while the defenders kept going. When it was over, 342 Void collective soldiers lay dead. The Academy had lost 41 defenders, a ratio that would have been unthinkable before today. The remaining collective soldiers retreated to their pods. Their commanders, watching from the fleet, ordered an immediate withdrawal. They had expected easy prey. They had found something else entirely. As the 18 enemy ships turned and fled into deep space, Maya allowed herself to sit down for the first time in hours. Her body ached. Her hands were covered in blood. She was exhausted beyond anything she had felt before. But she was alive. They all were. Torvik sat down beside her. The Corvani who had once tried to humiliate her now looked at her with something that might have been respect. "I tried to break you," he said quietly. "On your first day, I thought you were weak." Maya nodded but said nothing. "I was a fool." Torvik shook his head. "I have fought beside Corvani warriors my whole life. I thought I understood strength. But you, what you did today, I have never seen anything like it." Maya finally looked at him. "It was not just me. Everyone fought. Everyone contributed. But you led. You planned. You saw what none of us could see." Torvik paused. "My people have a tradition. When a warrior proves themselves in battle, we name them, give them a title that honors their deeds. Humans do not need titles. Perhaps not, but you have one anyway, whether you want it or not." Torvik stood up. He looked down at the exhausted human trainee who had saved an entire station. "They will call you Gravity Walker, the one who walks where others fall, the human who took our greatest weapons and turned them into strengths." Maya laughed weakly. "That is very dramatic." "War is dramatic." Torvik offered her one of his 4 hands. "Come, the commander wants to see you." Commander Vexthar was waiting in the command center. The screens now showed empty space where the enemy fleet had been. The station was damaged but intact. Rescue ships were already on their way. "Sergeant Chen," Vexthar said formally, "what you did today saved over 300 lives, trainees, officers, families, people who would have died if you had not acted." "I did my duty, sir." "You did far more than that." The commander reached into his uniform and pulled out a small metal badge. It was shaped like a star surrounded by 4 moons, the highest honor the Galactic Military Academy could award. This is the Medal of Exceptional Valor. It has been given only 7 times in the Academy's history. You are the 8th recipient. Maya accepted the medal. It felt heavier than it looked. There is something else, Vexthar continued. I have sent a full report to the Galactic Council. Everything that happened here, the tactics you used, the way you trained our soldiers, the victory against impossible odds. And? Vexthar smiled. It was the 2nd time she had seen him smile. The Council has officially upgraded Earth's classification. You are no longer Category 3. What are we now? Category 10. The commander's voice was serious despite his smile. The highest classification possible, reserved for species that are considered essential to galactic security. Humanity has been invited to join the Council's Military Advisory Board. Your people will help train soldiers across the galaxy. Maya thought about this. 1 week ago, she had been an unknown trainee from an unknown world. Now her entire species had been recognized as warriors. All because some aliens thought it would be funny to increase the gravity on a human. They had no idea what they were starting. There is one more thing, Vexthar said. A personal question, if you permit. Of course, sir. When you first arrived, you increased the gravity yourself. Before we did anything, you asked for 3 times standard as if it was normal. The commander leaned closer. Why? Why did you do that? Maya thought about the mountains of Tibet where she had trained, the artificial gravity chambers beneath military bases, the years of preparation for this exact moment. Because I wanted you to know the truth from the beginning, she said. I wanted every species in this academy to understand that humans are not what they appear. We are small, we are soft, we have no natural weapons, but we have something more powerful. What? Maya looked out the window at the stars. Somewhere out there, Earth was spinning. 8 billion humans were living their lives, having no idea what had just happened. But soon they would know. Soon the whole galaxy would know. We never give up, she said. We never surrender. We adapt. We overcome. We survive things that should kill us and come back stronger. That is what makes us human. Commander Vexthar nodded slowly. He finally understood. The galaxy made a grave mistake, he said quietly. What mistake? We thought we could measure your species by your bodies, by your gravity, by your size and strength. We looked at you and saw weakness. He looked at the human trainee standing before him. Small, soft, no natural weapons, absolutely terrifying. We should have looked at your eyes, he finished. We should have seen what was behind them. Now the Void Collective knows. Now the whole galaxy knows. Maya nodded. And now they will never forget. She walked out of the command center into the damaged corridors of the academy. Trainees and officers stepped aside as she passed. They bowed their heads. Some saluted. Some simply stared. The human who had demanded 3 times gravity. The human who had turned a joke into a victory. The human who had shown the galaxy what her species was made of. Somewhere in deep space, the retreating Void Collective commanders were sending reports to their leaders, warning them, telling them about the new species that fought like demons, the small, soft creatures with no claws and no armor who had slaughtered their warriors in the darkness. On 100 different worlds, leaders would read those reports and make decisions. Some would decide to avoid humanity. Others would seek alliances. A few would wonder if they could use these Death World survivors for their own purposes. None of them would ever underestimate humans again. Maya reached her quarters and sat down on her small bed. She pulled out her communication device and typed a message to General Harrison back on Earth. Mission successful. Academy saved. Earth classification upgraded to Category 10. Humanity is officially on the map. What are my next orders? The reply came faster than she expected. Outstanding work, Sergeant. Enjoy the victory. Your next assignment will come soon. The galaxy is watching now. Let us make sure they like what they see. Harrison out. Maya smiled and deleted the message. Then she laid down and slept better than she had in months. Outside her window, the stars burned cold and bright. The galaxy was vast and ancient and full of dangers, but for the first time in history, humanity had announced itself. They had come not as beggars or refugees or curiosities. They had come as warriors, and the galaxy would never be the same.